Length about why the anti-Semitic protest in absurdity has exploded across our college campuses. I've often said this is a byproduct of several years of a certain kind of curriculum being taught to our children, and we spoke at length about this yesterday with two of our guests. First, I want you to hear from Jeffrey Lax, a law professor of the CUNY colleges right here in New York.
They truly are Marxists, and one tenet of Marxism is the annihilation of Judaism and all of religion. Remember, Marxists call religion the opiate of the masses. So it's not just Jews they're coming after. They're coming after Christians too. They're coming after all religions. And yes, they refer to each other as comrade, not as a joke, not to be silly. They are quite serious.
Call each other comrades. Then we also spoke with Katie Gorka, a research fellow for outreach at the Heritage Foundation and co-author of a new book titled NextGen Marxism, what it is and how to combat it. I asked her this question about DEI.
DEI is like the kind of the thought police on our campuses that are giving rise to this. And they're the ones through whom many of these ideas are coming into the campuses.
With that being said, let's look at how this works. The example today, the University of Stanford. I'm going to tell you what, this is scary. An article in the City Journal was published just 10 days ago. The title, DEI Conquers Stanford. In the article, it states, Stanford employs at least 177 full-time DEI bureaucrats spread throughout the university's various divisions and departments. Well, I suppose if you wanted to implement a certain curriculum, an ideology, you would unleash an army of enforcers of that ideology across the board, no? Have them get into each and every crevice of every department of your school, then have them standing behind the shoulder of every professor and make sure they're implementing this thought process into their lessons, their lectures, and their assignments. It makes sense, right? You would also make sure students get the appropriate training, and that's what's allegedly happened at Stanford. City Journal interviewed a student there. They said, I've observed as students are reported by their peers for constitutionally protected speech, and professors are denounced and accused of discrimination by other students for the crime of not being PC enough in their research or in class. One of the professors in the article describes DEI as a Trojan horse ideology that undermines equality before the law, freedom of expression, and due process. It seems like the undermining of our unalienable rights we're supposed to have in this country that makes America so great. It seems like that's happening. It seems like a plan to erode our country, starting with teaching our children to do just that. But just maybe, after the insanity that's happened over the last few weeks at our colleges, administrators are starting to think, maybe this DEI thing isn't such a good idea. Just a couple days ago, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, prestigious MIT, will no longer require prospective faculty to write a document explaining how they would enhance the university's commitment to DE&I. Yes, if you can believe that, an explanation of enhancing DEI is a requirement to work at some of our top flight schools.